And okay, so now recording is started. So the most important facts and elements of the media call. So the call is only open in eligible countries that we listed in the call. Just to go back, it's Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, Bulgaria, Slovakia, Spain, and Italy. The budget is around 1 million euro, and from this we would be able to support approximately 8 two-year grants. The aim is to have at least one grantee per priority country. We work with a specific grantee profile. I will talk about this later in more details. And the application process consists of 2 rounds. First, everyone can apply with a concept note. And after the concept note phase, we will shortlist applicants and invite them to submit a full proposal that will be a completely different template for the full proposal phase, which would be more detailed and would provide more space to explain your plans. So in terms of the grantee profile, we expect applications from grantees registered and works in priority countries. So it means that we do not support with this call journalism in exile. So we expect applicants to be registered and work in the specific country. We also expect applications from grantees that works on the national level, and it means that this code does not support local media or regional media. This also not support international media or cross-country, cross-border collaborations. We expect applications from nonprofits or organizations that operate as a nonprofit, and that means that we want if an organization is not registered as a nonprofit organization, we want some legal guarantee that the profits are reinvested in the organization. In most cases, it's regulated in the bylaws or the internal regulations of the organization. So the point is practically here that the funding that Civitates provides remains in journalism. It supports journalism. What I also wanted to underline here is that applicants need to have a legal entity. We're not in a position to support individuals or informal groups. Also part of the grantee profile that applicants are on a growth path, proven a track record of at least 12 months of active coverage. That's what we require. So it means that we do not support startups. It's not a seed funding. So we expect applications from media outlets that are already operational, and we can support their growth path. So act as a temporary boost for multiple years, accompanying our grantees and supporting them to establish their operations, to establish their financial situation. We have 2 exclusion criteria. We cannot support politically or organizations that are affiliated with political parties. And we also do not support for-profits where the profits are not reinvested in the organization. Collaboration with local and regional media is, and also connections with international networks is a plus. It means that this kind of showcase the relevance, the position, the reputation of the applicants, but the grant is not aimed at supporting collaborative work. It's aimed at supporting core funding for individual athletes. We offer 2-year grants, core support. It's renewable after 2 years based on the performance of the grantees. And there are 5 main development areas that we focus during our collaboration with the grantees. And we ask applicants to reflect on these development areas. It's organizational development, business model development, editorial development, audience reach and engagement, and impact on public dialogue. We realize that some of these are more relevant for some applicants, some are less. In the application, address these areas as much as it makes sense for you, and focus on the more important ones. I also wanted to share some tips and some recommendations for the concept note. As you saw in the template, it's a quite simplistic concept note. We practically ask only 3 questions about the context, self-introduction, and plan and priorities. So we ask applicants to introduce their work. And here at this section, I would encourage everyone to focus on telling us what you want us to know about your work. I think that's the place where you can cite outstanding previous project or anything that you think would be important for us to know about your work, and anything that you're proud of you have achieved. And that's how you can demonstrate the quality standards, to meeting the quality standards. We would also expect applicants to introduce the organization itself, the team, the composition, the core values of their newsrooms, and that would help us to assess your commitment and also assess your capacities. And I think in terms of plans and priorities, it would be the most important to focus on explaining how core funding would advance organizational, professional priorities and plans. Here I would recommend to reflect on the relevant development areas, and also kind of showcase that 2-year core support. Where would you get how it would help your organization in the upcoming 2 years? Where do you want to get during this upcoming 2 years? One more piece of advice is to kind of showcase the connection between plans, priorities, and context analysis, to showcase that how your plans respond to the challenges that emerges from the context. In terms of budget, the funding offered, the maximum amount is 160,000 US euro for 2 years. It can cover core operational expenses. It can cover expenses supporting priorities at the development areas that I mentioned. And practically the budget should mirror that how this core funding would advance the midterms goal of the organization. There is one restriction to the budget. The grant amount that Civitates offers to grantees cannot exceed the half of the previous year's operational budget. And here we're talking about annual budget. So you calculate based on the aid. So it's in this case of maximum 160,000 euro, it's 80,000 per year. So you need to take this into consideration when you decide whether you are eligible for the full amount. Those applicants who had a smaller budget are not ineligible. They are very much welcome to apply, and I would encourage smaller organizations to apply, but with an adjusted budgetary request. I also here I wanted to give you a glimpse at the timeline. So 31st of January, that's where the call was published. Today we have the webinar. On the 3rd of March, there's a deadline for submission, and the whole March will be committed to concept note evaluation. Shortlisted applicants will be invited to submit full proposals in early April. These dates are not written in stone, but shortlisted applicants will receive this invitation in early April. We will organize a proposal writing seminar for the shortlisted applicants, where we will discuss the full proposal template and what is required for a full application package. And the full proposal evaluation will happen during May and June. And we have a selection committee meeting scheduled on the 30th of June. July will cover contracting, and the grants are supposed to start on the 1st of September. So thank you for your attention. This is what I wanted to share with you. And now we have time for questions. So anyone who would like to have a question, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Listen, we are an online magazine, but we are not registered as a proper journalistic association. Instead, we work for an association which is an LGBT center. So I'm not sure whether we can apply or not.
Well, I mean, the question is that whether you have a media outlet that is fully functional and that provides independent public interest journalism, as long as it is a non-profit and complies with all the other eligibility details. I think you can apply.
Okay, we have a website and an Instagram account.
Well, I mean, is your website is an independent public interest media outlet? That's the question, that provides regular coverage. So this call is specifically designed for independent media outlets,
I see.
and not necessarily for civil society organizations having a communication tool and the website. So
Good.
what we support is journalism.
I see, I see, I see. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. May I ask a question?
Sure, please go ahead.
My name is Anna from Belarus Investigative Center, and I want to ask if our organization is registered in Poland and we focus on investigative journalism and debunking fake news, but mostly in Eastern Europe. Sometimes we cover some Polish issues in our reports, but not so often. Are we eligible to apply for this grant? And we don't produce news on regular basis.
Okay, so here, what is important to remember is that we support media outlets working on the national level. So by that I mean that the outlet is registered in one of the priority countries and also caters for audiences in that specific country. And that's what I would underline here is that we don't support journalism in exile, and we also not support international media. So that's why we kind of underline in the call as well that we support outlets operating at the national level.
Yes, thank you. And may I ask another question? It seems that you have already answered, but our main organization is registered in Czech Republic, and our Polish association is quite a new organization. So if we decide to apply, can we use our achievements from a Czech legal entity or not?
Well, I mean, the question is that the Czech entity does cater for Czech audiences. Because if so, then I mean, I'm sorry, but Czechia is not a priority country this year.
So we can only use achievements from a particularly Polish organization, yes, legal entity.
It seems so, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your webinar, for the explanation. Everything very clear. I just have one question regarding the periodicity of news publication, because you said regular journalism coverage, or are also considered periodic publication. Like, for example, we do investigations or podcasts that do not have like a regular, that don't go out weekly or, specifically, but we do have a coverage during the year.
That's not a problem. I mean, we realize that investigative outlets are operate in a different speed, and we very much welcome applications from investigative outlets. And I see Tatiana, sorry.
Just to check, Croatia was not listed on the first slide, but we are eligible.
Could you say that again? Sorry.
Croatia wasn't listed on your first slide.
Yes.
But we are eligible.
Yes.
In priority countries. Okay, thank you.
And Verena?
Yeah, my name is not Verena. I have the wrong account, but it's Matthias. I just wanted to ask a question. Hi, hello. Well, first of all, thank you for clearing things and for talking about this. I just wanted to know, we are a bilingual newspaper from the north of Italy, so we mostly operate on a regional basis. Is that still eligible? So we are, of course, registered in Italy as a medium, but we don't operate nationwide. Is that a criteria?
I have to say yes. So our focus is on the national level. So outlets that cater for population and audiences in their respective countries, in their whole respective countries.
In the whole country, not regionally. Okay.
And I see Agata. Please go ahead, unmute yourself.
But thank you. We are an NGO in Poland, and we publish 2 journals. So my first question is if we should apply for one of them or as an organization for both. And then the second question is, does the topic matter, because we are mostly focused on culture and society issues? Thank you.
So in terms of topic, we don't have specific preferences, but the focus is on public interest journalism. In terms of the 2 publications, so what you may consider here is that it is a core funding that is designed to support a team to be able to improve both professionally and organizationally. The question is that whether there are separate teams, separate budgets for these publications. We had an example in the past when the grantee had multiple publications, but those all worked with separate newsrooms. They had separate priorities, a separate budget. So based on this limited information that I have about your case, I would say that you rather focus on one of the publications if all of these make sense. So if it makes sense for you to build a team, to build the business model, to build the professional work of them separately. Yes, the next one.
Yeah, may I ask you a question?
Sure. Please go ahead.
We are an international web magazine related to European capitals of culture. We are based in Italy, but we work internationally. You said that being international is not eligible, right?
That's not the priority. Yes, we focus on national level media.
National level. Okay, because it's almost impossible since it's for European capitals of culture. So they are everywhere in the European community. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next one, please.
Yes, hello. Yes, hi, I'm Agnieszka. I'm with Notes from Poland. We are a media outlet registered in Poland. We are a non-profit. Our majority of our audience is based in Poland, but my question is, we publish in English as our main language. We publish some of the articles in Polish too. As I said, majority of our audience is in Polish, but it's also international audience, not just Poles. So migrants, expats, is this something that makes us eligible or just excludes us? Because I couldn't find anything on the language of publication. And I was wondering how you define it here and where do we draw the line? Thank you.
There is no requirement about language. I think it's more about the audience that you cater. So I don't see it as a criteria for exclusion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. I don't see anyone, so or everyone. So please, whoever have a question, unmute yourself and go ahead, because I don't see all the hands up, just a few.
Okay, shall I go?
Sure.
So thanks a lot for the webinar, very useful. I have a quick question about the budget, quick clarification. So you mentioned that the total grant amount should not exceed half of the applicants last year spending, right? So I was wondering if this is intended for 2 years, so the length of the grant, or per year? Thank you.
You should calculate on a yearly basis. So if you take, for example, 160,000 euro, you need to have, and that means that the annual budget is 80,000. So in the previous fiscal year, you needed to have 160,000 euro to be able to fully exploit the offered amount.
And
Okay, clear. Thank you.
to complete the answer, therefore, if you have less than the 180, so say 100,000, then it would be 50, so you can ask for 100,000 basically. So don't feel excluded if you don't have the 160 to be able to ask for the full grant, as Esther has asked. In the past, we have had a lot of organization who has not applied because of this rule. So we really invite organization to present proposals which are under the maximum threshold, but which as the finance can still absorb, basically.
Yes, thank you, Sam, and I can only second that we very much encourage smaller outlets and organizations to apply for the adjusted amount of funding. Okay, next one I see Zuzana.
Oh, thank you as well for organizing. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
The previous one participant asked about investigate bodies. My question will be watchdogs. Like if organization is a watchdog and also publishing blogs about findings or videos on YouTube channel or newsletters, is this considered like publishing activity?
Well, I mean, what I would underline here is this fund is a journalism fund. Mm-hmm. So
in the team there are 2 journalists working on the topics, but it's only one of the agenda.
Is it a media outlet or a website, a blog, or an Instagram account of civil society organizations? So what is important here that we want applicants that produce independent public interest journalism, media outlets, not communication tools of civil society organizations, but specifically organizations that produce journalism.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see whose hands I see. Julia.
I think it was a hand that was still up, Esther, because she.
Okay. So then, who else I see? Arpad.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So thank you for your webinar. Just quick question. I see that the grant supports core operational expenses. Does this cover wages? Because
yes, absolutely. Okay. It covers personal costs. Absolutely.
Yeah, because in Hungary and probably most private countries, our main concern is keeping afloat and not coming up with some new projects or inventions.
Yes. What I wanted to underline here, but that it's not emergency funding. I know that there's a coincidence in terms of the timing of this call with US-based funding being cut, but this call has been planned for months and months before. It's not a response to this situation, so it's not emergency funding for survival. We still want to support the growth of our grantees. But personal costs are absolutely something that can be included in the budget.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm next, so I'll go. Thank you very much for the presentation. I had a question on the what is the process after an organization receives the grant. I read in the on the website that after 30 days, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of the grant, you need to write a report, to hand in a report. I wanted to ask if there's any other post-grant, basically, requirement.
Yes, it might be a little bit premature, but in a nutshell, we require reporting from our grantees. Written report 30 days after the end of the grant period, as you correctly mentioned. We also do midterm monitoring. It's not a written report. We organize midterm calls with our grantees to trace their progress. We have a MEL framework for the media grantees that specifically ask for data and trace development on these 5 development areas. Yes, I mean, there are other details, but I think that's the most important.
Yeah,
that
was
you
already
need
sufficient.
Yeah. And also midterm, we have to ask for a financial report, but not narrative. At the end of the grant period, narrative and financial. I'm not sure who was next.
Maybe I am.
Yes, it's possible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the webinar. So we are civil society organization, but we have a proper online magazine where we made journalistic work. So I don't think that's a problem. But my question is about the audience reach, since we are more strong in indirect audience reach through a quotation by other newspapers and of our work. So I just want to understand if this is an obstacle or it may be.
No, I don't think it's an obstacle. That's something that you can address in your concept note. But I don't see that as an obstacle. I mean, it doesn't exclude you from applying. Okay, I see Radovan.
Yes. Hi. Hello. Thank you. So I would have 2 questions. One is regarding the non-for-profit status. Our media is published by company. It's not a shareholder company. It's a limited liability company. We don't distribute profits. In 20 years, we never done that. So in what way should we certify that we are not for profit? Because legally speaking, it's a company. So that's the first question. Maybe so the second one regarding the type of activities besides publishing on daily basis online, we also organize events. It's kind of another form of interaction with our audiences. So the question is whether this could be included or not, or it's a type of activity you are not supporting the events.
I mean, I don't think it's a problem. Events can be a way of audience outreach. And sometimes when some of our current grantees also use in-person meeting with their audiences as building relationship. So I don't think that's a problem. In terms of the non-profit for-profit status, so I think what is important here is that as a journalism funders, we want to ensure that the funding that we provide, that supports journalism, and it stays in the organization, it stays supporting the journalistic work, and it's not practically increases the profit of some private owners. But what we also would like to see some legal guarantee for that. So that's why I was mentioning the bylaws and internal rules, because that's a very specific and kind of secure way to ensure that the money stays in the organization. Okay, I see Anna's hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for this information that you're offering us. My question is that we're a media outlet, but we have two media. And you mentioned that the grant amount cannot exceed half of the previous year's operational budget, but
Yes.
our operational budget is for both media. So I guess we should kind of divide the budget and try to know which one was for which media, or I don't know if an option is to ask for a grant for both of the media, to do something like in the both of them.
Well, I mean, I'm honestly, I don't think it's the ideal scenario, because we want one media outlet to improve and get on this development path. And I think that I mean, it doesn't exclude, but it can be a problem that you cannot separate between the budgets, the teams, the goals, and the work of the two I don't know what the format, but so we specifically want to focus not on an organization that produces multiple multiple and separate outlets, but to see how one media outlet can be strengthened and developed.
Okay, so we'll try to divide that. Thank you.
Yes, I think that's the practical response, yes. Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Hi.
Hello. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question about the definition that you work with, because is there an information anywhere? How do you define journalism, media outlet, all of those things that you consider valid in this grant? Because based on the questions that were asked already, I think that a lot of organizations publish things that fall into some gray areas. And do you have any working definition? What would you like to see?
Well, I mean, I'm not 100% sure if I got this question right, but I mean, in terms of public interest journalism, I think there is important to point out that that it's free and independent and made by actors who are independent, that it exists to inform the publics on the issue that shape their lives, that are relevant for them, in a ways that serves the interest of the public rather than any political, commercial or other interest. It's to enable public debate and dialogue, and to hold those in power to account. Just to come up with a short
Okay, I understand.
Public interest media, yeah.
Okay, so for example, does academic publication fall in into that category, because I can see the topic of humanities and things like that fall into that to shape the public debate and so on and so forth. But I'm not sure if you would see that as journalism.
Well, academic publishing serves a very specific audience and population. So I would be hesitant to define it as public interest journalism.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other?
I have a question, if it's okay.
Sure.
I just want to check if I well understood. You said that after 2 years of grant, there will be re-granting for another 2 years, or not?
I assume you mean renewal.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it depends. After 2 years, once we receive the final reporting, we review the final reports of the grantees and make decisions about renewal based on their performance. I mean, theoretically, we are open to accompany our grantees for a longer period of time. There are many grantees who we support since the Media Sub-Fund was launched in 2020. So they've been renewed more than once already. So, but the grant period is for 2 years now, and any decision on renewals will be made after that 2 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Zornitsa wants a question.
It's not Zornitsa, I'm Krasen,
Sorry.
Colleague from mediapool.bg. As far as I got it, in our concept, we must focus on legacy, so-called traditional journalism, right? And what about spending some money for developing our capacity for dissemination on our content in the social network? Is it eligible for spending some money for that? Because most of the public debate in our country is now in the social network. So what about dissemination of traditional journalistic products through the social networks? Thank you.
Well, I mean, as we were discussing the 5 development areas, I think it could fit into audience engagement and growth. It could also fit into the category of to some extent editorial improvement. So I don't see this as a problem. Yeah. Okay.
There are quite a few questions in the chat.
Yes. So the first one by Miguel Mora. We are a limited company since 2015, never had benefits except last year, and have begun the transformation into a non-profit foundation. Would that be okay? And yeah, answered. Okay. Now I see.
Maybe I can, Esther, maybe I can help in selecting a little bit the ones that were not answered. So there is one that is new, which I think was not answered. There are 2 questions regarding the application process. How many applicants do you estimate to be shortlisted? And next is, if there is no activity report from 2023, would you accept one from 2024? Talking about financial report. Financial report of 2023 will be submitted.
From 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, so what we would need to see in terms of finances is the last year. It's 24. We realize that in many countries you don't have to produce the report so early in the year, so you might not have the financial, the officially audited, submitted financial reports yet. So in that case, we accept operational reports for 24. But if you have official reporting from 23, please also include that as well. And in terms of the procedural question, we would approximately shortlist between 16-20 applications. It's an approximate number because it would be based on quality, the budget requests, but approximately between 16 and 20.
Okay, there is another case which I think was not explained or answered so far. So it is from a media observatory that works closely with Spanish media companies to promote informative governance and transparency. They do not produce any editorial content themselves, but work with many different agents in the sector to ensure editorial independence and credibility. Would you consider their case for a grant?
I mean, based on it's limited information, but editorial content production is kind of a requirement. So that's why I was pressing it that we want to support outlets that produce journalism.
Okay, another question is about the budget and especially the section estimated income. Should they include only the funds that are already secured or also the funds they plan to apply for? Additionally, as an organization dedicated exclusively to content production, what constitute activity costs? Would this include expenses for external collaborators such as proofreading, translation, photography, and illustration, or should those be categorized under consultants and external contributors? So I guess the distinction is also what is considered as activity and what is considered like internal and external, I would guess.
Okay, I mean, yeah, okay.
I can take over if you want.
All right, Sam, please go ahead.
Okay, so in the estimated budget, we would like to see both the secure funding and the funding for which you have applied. We actually have created a taxonomy where you can easily tell us which one you have applied for and which one is secure. So that's for the estimated income. In terms of proofreading, translation, photography, and illustration, those will fall under the category of consultant and external contributor. And activity could be, for example, if you have to go fund a trip to do some interview or something like this, that would fall under activity cost. Is that clear as an answer?
Yes, thank you.
There was a question where you can find the templates for the concept note, and the answer is on the website. You will see, yes, the main page, and there's everything there. I'm checking what other question or not. If
yeah,
everybody...
I saw here two questions from Gaspar Pop. In case of winning the grant, what would be the schedule for the installments? We pay in 3 installments. One in when the grant starts, one around halftime of the project, and the last small installments after the submission and the approval of the final report. And the other question is a full website redesign eligible if we can justify it is needed? Well, I mean, if you can justify that it serves the improvement of the editorial content, the improvement of audience outreach, it can fit into, yes. But it's hard to judge now it out of context, but it's something that not excluded per se.
And there is one question which is, will you just select only one media outlet from each country?
It's not necessarily. I would rather put it in a way that we would like to have at least one media outlet per country. How many will be the final number depends on the quality and also to what extent applicants exploits the budget. So if we have more smaller outlets applying, then we might be able to give more but smaller grants. But it's hard to say at this point. But we would like to have at least one from each country.
I think you answered all the written question or some answered in written format, but I don't know if anybody has, any written question was not answered.
Yes, please, if you have anything left that
I'm sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
If just to know when the FAQ will be published.
Sorry, could you say that again?
The frequently asked question, when will be published?
I mean, we will use this call as a base for that, and after this call during this week, as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, if everything is clear, I'm glad to hear. Then I would thank you for your interest and attendance today, and I'm looking forward receiving concept notes and reading about your outlets and organizations. So thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.